Thank you very much. Joining us now on Newsnight is Felix Morka, National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. Thanks for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Good to see you, Mr. Morka. Now, are there cracks within the APC, especially in the Northeast? Are there cracks within the APC, especially against the backdrop of Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State actually leading a protest that the Tinubu ticket was announced without a Shettima?
Thank you very much, Ngozi. The situation that occurred in Gombe was an unfortunate misunderstanding of two related but different processes. The first one is the primary election process, and the second, the general election process. Now, the primary election, as you know, involves the election of a flag bearer, a candidate for an office, like the office of the president. It is the president who is on the ballot in that internal party election. It's not a joint ticket at primaries. Whereas, of course, for general election, after the flag bearer is elected at primaries, in consultation with the party, a vice president is then selected for the general election. Now, what happened in Gombe yesterday was, an endorsement of the president, which, quite frankly, is related to the first category I just described, which is the primary election. It's an affirmation of the president by party members towards the next primary election, in which only the president will be on the ballot. You see, look, we understand as politicians, we understand some of these, nuances. But that's where it comes from. But when you have an incumbent president, like we have in Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President Tinubu, any endorsement of the president actually is presumed to be an endorsement of the vice president as well. Because today, the president, as incumbent president, also has a vice president who is an incumbent vice president. Unless and until such a time when that flag bearer, upon emerging at the next primary, again in consultation with the party, may decide whatever. But that is not a live question today and shouldn't be cited as basis to suggest that there's confusion in APC. We are not there yet. So, what happened was just a misunderstanding. And as a party, we recognize, that event, and we are taking steps now to better educate our members so that we don't have a repeat of this sort of situation anywhere else.
Well, it's great to hear that you have started taking steps to address the concerns. But do you appreciate the misunderstanding and the grievances of the people who say, even for the optics, he should have been mentioned as the son of the soil? I mean, that's a geopolitical stronghold, the Northeast. He should have been mentioned. And to those who say that this was not a mistake but a message, that are pointing to President Tinubu while in office as governor, who during his term as governor had several deputies. They say it is unprecedented. Should he drop Kashim Shettima? Should he eventually decide to run in 2027? Do you appreciate the concerns that they are expressing, and what do you say to people like that?
Look, in politics, yes, there are all kinds of concerns that people put at the table. Some of them very, sensible and very cogent. Others just, again, resulting from some misunderstanding. It's too early for anyone to begin to speculate and second guess what might happen, post the primary election of our party. We're not there yet. And I think it's rather, too early in the day for that to happen. But you see, a political party has its own established processes and systems for how candidates and candidates are selected or elected or selected. And we are not different. But of course, people have interests, and interests sometimes, get involved and may even overtake, reason and rationality. But it's all, part of the politics. So, but, both those who stood up, yesterday to, raise their voices, and those, that those voices were directed at, are members of our party. And I think we agree fundamentally that, we need to, step it down and allow conversation and reason, of course, to prevail, guided by our constitution, which we have as the guidepost for our actions in the party.
In fact, some critics are saying all of this talk about endorsements and no endorsements are a big distraction from the real issues of governance, especially at a time when Nigeria faces, existential crisis, insecurity and what have you. But, Mr. Morka, there are insinuations that there is a possibility that President Bola Tinubu may be reading the room correctly, in a way, and he may be looking elsewhere in terms of away from the same faith ticket as he had in 2023, looking at 2027, a Muslim Christian ticket. Is there a possibility of that? Is there even an official position within the APC about where the ticket really, in terms of running mate ticket, should go?
No, there's no official position or even official conversation around this question. But again, the reason there's no conversation at all at this point is because, we are not in that zone, zone of that time frame where this kind of matters, must then engage the attention of the party. We are not there. We have even Congress, to deal with between now and the next primary system. So, if anything, we are thinking about how our congresses may be, enacted or conducted. That this is still very far on the calendar, and it's not a life question, quite frankly. But, on the first point you made, look, critics will say anything. I think, there are people who are in a hurry to see APC, have issues and have problems. But even at that, problems will come. We're not infallible and we're not, invincible. But problems will come. But what matters is that we have mature systems that are designed to deal with these problems and to solve them. And I think that, what happened in Gombe is just what it was. Like I said, it was a misunderstanding, because if you understand the processes, you can see where people were coming from and where I think that misunderstanding really, inflamed some, passion that we saw. Again, it's regrettable that happened, but I think we will take, steps even more now to ensure that we have, better understanding of our processes going forward.
All right, the APC is not there yet, says Felix Morka, National Publicity Secretary of the party. Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.